bigger, better, faster, more. No, this is not the four non-blondes reunion. This is the new Lexus NX. Also, one of the non-blondes was called Roger. The Lexus NX launched in 2014 and it bore a surprising resemblance to the LF NX concept. I applaud the designers for carrying over so many cues from the bold concept to the production model. The second generation of the compact SUV is quite toned down by comparison, and the grey paint doesn't help. On the street, first-gen NX drivers don't seem to notice the new model is next to them at the lights. The new NX is slightly larger than its predecessor in every dimension. It's 2 cm longer and wider, the wheelbase is 3 cm longer, the car is 5 mm taller, the front track is 3 cm wider and the rear track is almost 6 cm wider. From a design standpoint, this is supposed to improve the stance. From the driver's point of view, this is supposed to make the car handle better. More about that later. This is the 450h Plus, which means a plug-in hybrid. The only visual difference from a regular hybrid, which has a fuel port on the other side, is the charging port, which is on the right side. The boot volume hasn't changed. Again, I have to applaud the Lexus designers for making the hybrid powertrain an integral part of the car rather than a cumbersome add-on like in the BMW X3. Of course, the BMW has an all-wheel drive system that depends on the internal combustion engine, whereas the Lexus NX has an electric motor in the back, and therefore the plug-in hybrid doesn't need a drive shaft. The traction battery lives under the floor, and there is no need to move the petrol tank. The boot, which can be opened using gesture, has, sorry for the sound, 545 liters capacity, which includes the underfloor storage. And the boot volume remains unchanged for the hybrid and the plug-in hybrid as well. Now, with the rear seats folded, we get more than 1400 liters of cargo space. Unfortunately, there are no levers here in the boot to fold the rear seats. You have to go around to the side. But there is a cleverly designed cargo cover. It's light, foldable, and it fits under the floor. Less clever are the shopping bag hooks because they are too low. There's a 12-volt socket and even a separate button to close the tailgate and lock the car at the same time. And there's also a proximity sensor, which means the tailgate won't hit you on the head. It's every feature offered by various competitors packed into one. I respect Lexus for admitting not everything in its past was brilliant. Not only does the press release mention the new faster locking tailgate, but on the press website I even found a side-by-side comparison of the old and the new model. There is very little happening in the rear. Gone is the backrest angle adjustment lever. Now you can use the same handle as you would to fold the rear seats. Speaking of which, these split 40-60. There are cup holders in the armrest, but no ski hatch. The side seats are heated and there are 2 USB-C ports and air vents, but no third zone climate control. Somewhat surprising, as this is the top trim model. The rear legroom was fine on the first gen, but I did complain about the headroom. Here there seems to be a bit more headroom, although I suspect part of it is thanks to the somewhat reclined backrests. The door pockets will accommodate small bottles, the doors cover the sills, and... okay, here comes the door handle rant. I am fascinated by how the engineers like to complicate things which just work. In a car, you always pull the door handle inside and outside. There is a cord which pulls the release mechanism and you're free to go. But no, the driver and the passengers are clearly too stupid to just exit the car safely. Surely they will be run over by the silent killers of the city, the electric car and the bicycle. Therefore, the inside door handle now has to be pressed and there is a sensor which decides whether you can exit the car or not. Or you can just double pull on the redundant emergency door release and you can exit the car like a rebel without a cause. The external door handles look ordinary, but they are also electric. Emergency release is activated, according to the manual, only in case of a serious front or rear collision. I managed to cheat the system by double pulling the inside handle. Can you spell over-engineered? Before I collide with the Lexus PR department, let's get inside and take a look at the new infotainment system. Until recently, Lexus offered something that must have been designed 20 years ago and nobody used it. That wasn't a problem because the average Lexus buyer is 87 years old. However, now Lexus is after a less senile demographic which may appreciate a car with a screen larger than their laptop. And there's even a mobile app. A quick disclaimer here, although I managed to pair the app with the car, I didn't get the full functionality. The press cars arrived very recently and the fleet manager didn't have time to set up PR test accounts. Instead, someone reviewing the car before me set themselves up as the car owner and they keep deleting my account. This infotainment system has great potential, but I reserve my final judgment for when I get my hands on it after several over-the-year updates. So far, Android Auto works when it wants to, the language settings are inconclusive, and the voice recognition system sometimes guesses what's being said. Hey Lexus.
What can I do for you?
I'm hungry.
Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding you.
I'm hungry.
Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding you.
Hey Lexus.
What can I do for you?
I would like to eat.
Setting the driver's seat temperature to 20.0.
Hey Lexus.
What do you want to do?
I'm hungry.
Sorry, I'm having trouble understanding you.
Hey Lexus.
What do you want to do?
I am hungry.
What station do you want to listen to?
Oh, bloody hell.
I didn't understand. Please try again. What station do you want to listen to?
Train station, preferably.
Sorry, I still didn't understand. You can find the radio station by name or frequency. What station do you want to listen to?
Cancel.
Surprisingly enough, it works better in Polish.
Now let's talk about the instrument cluster and choosing what's displayed on it. There are physical buttons on the steering wheel, which sounds like the car gods have listened to our prayers, but after touching them, something flashes on the head-up display and disappears before you read it. And that apparently was one of the two menus assigned to this side of the steering wheel. On the right side, there are the onboard computer and cruise control settings, while on the left side are your media and phone settings.
Of course, you can turn the head-up display off and then the same blinking happens on the instrument screen. Sure, you can learn how to use it, and then you turn on the cruise control and you realize in order to change its settings, you need to touch the button to display the menu and then click it. Great if you want to press resume in city traffic. Also, when you're driving with the cruise control on, you cannot access instrument cluster display settings. I'm sure this is something that will get ironed out, but for now I feel like I'm driving a pre-production car. The door pockets are good enough, and so are the cup holders. The armrest storage can be accessed from both sides, and it's rather large. The glove box is medium size. There is a wireless charger, but why not make it larger and deeper so the phone won't fall out? What was wrong with the charger under the armrest in the previous generation?
The interior is a pleasant place to be in, but I get the impression the previous gen felt more bulletproof, more robust. Perhaps it was the exposed bolts, which we don't have here. The sitting position is quite high. I can't drop the seat any lower, and I feel like I'm about to hit the roof with my head. Also, the seat is short, even for me. Who invented this gear selector? Sure, there's a diagram what to do, but it just doesn't feel natural. When I was making a 3-point turn, I got stuck across the road, and there was absolutely no pressure from other drivers because nobody was in a hurry.
And now let's get to the beeping sound. This is the mandatory warning sound EVs and PHEVs have to emit to protect the pedestrians. It works up to about 25-27 km per hour, but it's more audible inside the car than outside.
Besides the beeping noise, the interior is well soundproofed. That's important, especially when driving in electric mode. After all, this is a PHEV with declared zero emissions range of up to almost 100 kilometers. Spoiler alert, in order to get this good a result, you'd have to hypermill in eco mode, use recuperation, etc. By the way, recuperation level can be adjusted with paddles. Under normal circumstances, you're going to get 60-70 kilometers out of the 18 kilowatt-hour battery. That's a good result anyway, and it's on par with what the trip computer displays when you unplug the car.
As standard, the LEXUS NX has a 3.3 kilowatt onboard charger, which means around 6 hours charging time. Optional 6.6 kilowatt charger and a wallbox cut the charging time by half. Compared to the BMW X3 plug-in hybrid, it's clear you can drive the Lexus all day in electric mode, and the engineers assumed someone may actually want to recharge during the day. By the way, this is the same plug-in hybrid drivetrain you also get on the Toyota RAV4 and the Suzuki Cross. Lexus has 3 more horsepower, 309. This NX can tow up to 1.5 tons. The claimed 0 to 100 km per hour time is 6.3 seconds, but this is only in sport mode for the drivetrain and for the gearbox. Without the latter, you'll get 8.2 seconds. And in pure electric mode, 0 to 100 km per hour takes 11.5 seconds.
Lexus decided the car will not switch from electric to hybrid mode until the traction battery is low or the driver selects the hybrid mode. Beside the electric and hybrid mode, there is also a charge mode. Generally speaking, unless you drive somewhere further or commute on the motorway, there is no need to turn on the petrol engine, which I highly recommend, not just because of the environmental concerns, but also because the engine noise is unpleasant. Toyota hybrids may be the best hybrids out there, but that's what they sound like. Now, the fuel consumption on the dual carriageway with the traction battery depleted at 120 kilometers per hour is 7-8 liters per 100 kilometers, not bad for a 2-ton SUV. And speaking of the mass, it can be felt mainly on braking and on bigger bumps. Around the corners, I'd never say I'm driving this heavy a car. The previous NX was great to drive, this one is even better, and thanks to high electric torque, you have more fun in the NX than the target demographic had in the 1960s.
Diskotanssit. Seuraava on vasen jalka sivulle, 1, oikea yhteen 2, oikea jalka sivulle 3, 4.
Visibility is decent. There is a great 360-degree camera, which also includes a view through the bonnet like on Land Rovers. By the way, you'll find the same infotainment and camera system on the Toyota BZ4X and its sibling, the Subaru Solterra. I drove the latter recently on an off-road course, and the view through the bonnet is great help. Speaking of off-road, the LEXUS NX has a trail mode. On my diagonal approach test, the NX coped better in normal mode than in the trail mode. It seems the latter turns down traction control and allows more wheel slippage, which may be beneficial in some situations. The driver aids are better than in the previous LEXUS models. I like that the adaptive cruise control allows setting the pace with which the car will accelerate to the set speed. I guess an individual mode could have done the trick, but there is no individual mode. At least now the lane keeping assist really keeps you in the middle of the lane rather than react at the last moment. Also, I wouldn't rely on the traffic sign recognition. Prices of the LEXUS NX start at €45,700 for the front-wheel drive hybrid. The all-wheel drive starts at €47,000, the plug-in hybrid starts at €60,000. This top trim PHEV with options costs about €70,000.
Do you know the joke about mixed emotions? It's watching your mother-in-law fall down a cliff in your brand new car. That's how I feel about the new LEXUS NX. There is no better PHEV in this segment, and I suppose there is also no better regular hybrid in this segment. But there is still some room for improvement. Luckily, most of the problems can be fixed with software updates. If you're looking for a hybrid premium SUV, LEXUS is pretty much the only choice. For a non-premium hybrid SUV, I'd suggest a RAV4 or the Across. But if you want a premium SUV that's not hybrid, I'd still get BMW X3, which is great to drive, or the Audi Q5, which has interior like the Lexus. And which compact SUV would you choose? Let me know in the comment section below.